Hello my friends, we're jumping in with more video games news today. It's been a busy week. Xbox teased they have a new console in development that will be able to play your PC games. On top of that, the US government indicate their concerns about Tencent, of course a Chinese firm, and the influence that they have over US gaming companies, which could have big implications for publishers and developers. We'll also cover how Bungie are faring in the launch week for their new game, Marathon. We've spoken about it a lot, but of course it's a big deal for the future of the studio. They also released an interesting new promo video that had some positively terrifying humanoid robot people. My goodness. I was genuinely worried about this poor lady's health. Bungie nearly gave her a fucking heart attack. Alongside that, news that scientists have made a breakthrough that allows lab-grown brain cells to play a sort of video game, which is particularly exciting for me. Maybe I can replace some of the brain cells I lost engaging with online video games discourse. On top of that, players slam PlayStation for their kind of stupid remarks following the closure of Bluepoint. We'll cover layoffs and restructuring that seem to be affecting massive parts of the gaming industry, the future of The Division. Of course, Massive launched new content for the game this week and have promised additional DLC this year in what could potentially be a remarkable revival of Division 2, while also developing Division 3. Bungie, pay attention. We've got plenty to talk about, so if you enjoyed the video, hit subscribe to stay up to date for all the latest news, and now, let's get into it. First up, in the last couple of days, Xbox have announced Project Helix, a next-generation console which will play your Xbox and PC games. Now this is very interesting, of course. Helix is the codename for this platform, and newly appointed Microsoft Gaming CEO Asha Sharma has teased her first project, indicating that Helix is a next-generation console with a commitment to return to Xbox, but also massive performance upgrades with the ability to indeed play PC games. Apparently we'll get more details about it next week, and they haven't provided concrete info on how this will actually work, but potentially an Xbox that kind of doubles as a PC. And of course that'll raise questions about precisely how this platform will work, but it's quite interesting and potentially brings higher performance to the masses, which we can't really complain about. Otherwise, apparently the Trump administration are debating Chinese gaming firm Tencent, who of course have stakes in a whole bunch of US gaming companies, publishers, and developers such as Epic Games and Riot Games. The Financial Times indicated several people familiar with the internal deliberations have said that meetings have been held to determine whether Tencent's investments pose a security risk. Tencent of course owns League of Legends and Valorant studio Riot Games, plus holds a 28% stake in Epic Games. So as indicated here, should the Trump administration attempt to boot Tencent out of US gaming, the ramifications could be huge. I'm sure we'll hear more news about that very soon. Next up, Bungie dropped their new game Marathon this week. Most of you guys who watch my content will be well aware of that, of course. And it's been an interesting couple of days. There's a lot of talk about player counts and all that. It's somewhat understandable. Bungie have invested a lot into Marathon, so it needs to pay off. And the devs have been reacting to concerns about the Battle Pass, so firstly, they're making adjustments to the amount of Lux that players get. Lux is an in-game currency. And similar to what we've seen in Destiny before, they kind of set the currency bundles to give you less or more currency than you actually need for a bunch of items, right? Generally, this is done in games to encourage players to spend more than they actually need to. So Bungie are tuning the requirements to make it fairer, which is of course good. They also have patch changes which will increase the amount of med cabinets and munition crates that can spawn on some of the maps, as well as buffing the amount of ammo in a handful of the sponsored kits. Med kits and ammo seem to have been one of the biggest points of feedback so far. Plus on Friday they dropped the third map for Marathon, which features more difficult PvE and better rewards than the other maps, as well as a bunch of teasers for the Cryo Archive or the Marathon ship, which will be Marathon's sort of raid-like piece of content, taking a few pointers from Destiny, but in an extraction shooter, of course. So obviously Bungie are very hands-on with this launch at the minute, and I'd love to get your thoughts on Marathon generally down in the comment section. On the other side of the coin, we spoke about the Division 3 the other day, and speculation about how that's coming along behind the scenes. And yes, the timing was unfortunate because the same day, Massive announced that they were releasing a realism mode for the Division 2 and a massive anniversary season. And as part of this, they announced a new DLC focused on Central Park coming later this year, with a new season dropping in April with revamped gear, weapons, and features, event pass, and a whole bunch of stuff. So Division are doing a massive 10th anniversary here, interestingly more significant than what Bungie did with Destiny 2's 10th anniversary. And there'll be a whole bunch of activities and events as part of this. Plus, as far as we understand, Division 3 is still in some kind of development behind the scenes. That's absolutely wild given that Destiny 2 has been a far bigger game over the course of its lifetime. Yet over the last year, Bungie have really struggled to support the game with failure to commit to its future, or indeed a Destiny 3. And it's absolutely a comparison that players will make between the two titles. Either way, if you enjoy The Division, you should be eating good in 2026. In separate news, PlayStation got absolutely hammered on social media after asking fans what remakes they'd like to see, only to receive a crash course in reading the room. Of course, in the last couple of weeks, Sony shut down Shadow of the Colossus and Demon's Souls remake developer Bluepoint Games, just 5 years after purchasing the studio. And the PlayStation DE Twitter account posted asking fans which games they'd like to see remade in the future. Shortly after, though, they removed the tweet because there was a lot of backlash. Unsurprisingly, you can't seriously be asking which PlayStation remake would you wish for a few days after announcing Bluepoint's closing. What is wrong with you? Others simply called the post cheeky in the wake of Bluepoint's closure. And yeah, generally it was probably a bit out of touch, that tweet. In separate news, kind of relating to shutdowns and layoffs, I know it's a bit depressing, but Valorant and League of Legends developer Riot Games have downsized its internal publishing division, with more layoffs this week. And outside of actual game devs, Eurogamer are additionally facing a whole bunch of restructuring. The same going on with the developer of the Skate games, of course those working at EA. Then there was the news about Highguard and the studio being shut down. Of course, lots of industries experience turbulence, but it does seem to be especially prominent in the video games industry, where a lot of money is kind of thrown around, especially into these live service projects, which still seem to be incredibly risky and very hit and miss in terms of their performance and reception, which only further contributes to these kinds of things happening. A quick final mention, but scientists have made a breakthrough that allows lab-grown brain cells to play a sort of video game. This sounds promising. I do wonder if they'll be available for purchase, because I could probably use a few. Reportedly, a cluster of lab-grown human brain cells has apparently made the leap to successfully playing a very rudimentary video game without the benefits of eyes, ears, or any kind of sensory input, with researchers successfully coaching their brain organoids to solve a cart pole problem, which is a lot like balancing a digital broomstick. Interestingly, AI systems are tested on the same basis, but the brain cell's success rate is said to have jumped from 4.5 to 46% after training them to perform. I'm not going to pretend to understand what the hell this really means, but as I mentioned, if they could inject a few of these into my brain, 46% success rate is probably far higher than what I could achieve myself personally right now. Bonkers! I'll leave the full article for that down below if you're interested. For today, that's what we have to speak about. If you've enjoyed the video and the roundup, do us a huge favor. It would really help me out with the algorithm as we kind of move into this new format. Feel free to drop us a like and a comment down below. Also, share the video with your friends if you feel like being kind today. Super appreciate you guys. Hit subscribe for more news and updates. There'll be plenty more to come, but for now, I hope you guys have an awesome day.
This is not good.
This is not good. Just shot through the wall.
Please prepare for consciousness transfer in 3, 2, 1. Initiate.
Very uncomfortable. Let me out.
You gotta be kidding me, man. This is up.
No.
Get out.